Chris, are you coming over here or not? Peyton, you were taking notes. Come on, get your ballsy ass over here. All right, so here we are wrapping up the day, finishing Fencing, Indiana gate installation training today using a Juno Basic 101 plug and play operator. So we introduced this team to UL 325, F2200, and just some things to make the gate safe, and then also how to hook it up with less stress, right? So a simple installation. Was there anything that stuck out to you today that seemed uniquely, probably more easy than you thought it was gonna be?
It was pretty, programming and stuff went pretty easily, I thought, and then as long as you had the poles set where you needed to have them, everything kind of fell into place. And then adjustment worked out very, very well.
We did learn we had to reference the manual a few times.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Don't tell your wife that.
No, it's true. I mean, there's a few times we thought we knew exactly what we were doing, like we referenced the manual, and there the answer was like that. F2200 and UL 325, was there anything that stuck out to you today that you learned?
I had no idea they even existed, so I have to read those. And
Yes, absolutely. So there are two F2200s who reference the gate itself, right? That's going to be like protrusions and spaces and travel, and then UL 325s have a lot to do with the operator itself, right? So, Chris, do you remember what the spacing, the maximum spacing can be between vertical pickets on a gate operator?
Either 2 1/4 or 2 1/2.
Nailed it. 2 1/4. Nailed it. And how many gate operators have you ever done?
None.
Already a professional. Look at you already. Was there anything that stuck out in your mind that was either harder than you thought or simpler than you thought?
Maybe programming where it slows down. I feel like the one time I've seen that was a swing gate, was a hydraulic, and it seemed like a guy who was doing it full time was struggling with it.
Yep.
So I assumed that would be harder on this, and that was just changing numbers. And then it was like, okay, it stops
So literally,
here.
if we
And
had
I
a
was
count
like,
of 100, all we had to do was just back it down off 100 and tell it when to slow down. It was
yeah,
super simple.
I assumed that would be more futzing around with, and it was just changing a number, and then it stops.
And
or
it slows
down
down
here.
for a soft stop, right? So do you remember what the maximum protrusion can be off the gate, anywhere off a gate surface? How much can anything stick past the gate surface? Remember how many, less than an inch, more than an inch? What was the protrusion that we were allowed to have up to, the maximum?
I think it's about 1/2 inch, yeah.
Do you remember what the minimum distance underneath the gate should be?
2 inches.
2 inches, absolutely. And if we had a 2 1/4 inch gap like he talked about, up into what height are we required to have that no bigger than a 2 1/4 inch gap?
It's 6 foot.
It's 6 foot. Anything today that stuck out to you that was harder or easier than you expected?
Wiring up from the battery straight to the panel. That was super simple, super easy.
2 wires.
Yeah. So that was super
Red to red, black to
surprising
black.
me. Yeah.
Good. Josh, this is not your first operator, is it?
It is.
Oh, it is your first operator.
Not first operator though.
How many safety sensors are we required to have for a slide gate? How many external safety devices do we have?
We've got to go whatever direction it's going.
So we have to have 2, and 1 has to be for the what cycle?
Close.
And 1 for
Open.
the, so 1 for each, right?
Yep.
Independently. Can we have more than 2 safety eyes or safety sensors?
Yes.
Absolutely. How many inches away from the gate
16.
Before we have to have some sort of protection in there? Is that correct? Nice job. And UL 325 and F2200 govern those pieces for us, right? Anything that you thought learned today that stuck out to you was easier or harder than you expected?
Just the wiring part, especially doing DC instead of AC, was definitely easier than I thought, just because having to try to dig all the way from somewhere would definitely be a lot more work, a lot more labor and everything. So just being able to do the solar panel and DC was definitely
And then how hard was it to get the operator from AC to DC?
not very hard. It's just 2 wires. You just disconnect it. That's it.
Just
Yeah.
unplug 2 wires, right, and same go. My man Taylor, so is this your first gate operator? No, you've done a few.
Yeah, we've
Is this the easiest one you've ever seen go together?
Yeah. That catch pole or the safety straps, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep, so like the safety straps on the swing gate to catch it, and then the pole here to prevent the gate from falling over, how many degrees?
45,
45 degrees.
which I've never done like a cantilever automated gate. The chain assembly, that was a lot simpler than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was pretty bare bones.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything too complicated. And programming's where we always have an issue, is something not communicating with something else. That's super frustrating because it's hard to track down what's wrong with it. So, I mean, it programmed a lot
We
easier.
had, had some struggles with programming,
absolutely.
but all we had to do was reference the manual. It was very easy. What,
Yep.
what does BO mean and BC means, right? The bus close and bus open. So we have a problem with one of those two. We know it's in the open cycle that we have a problem with the safety device, or in the closed cycle, right? And the board was telling us that, so we can go right to it and identify that. Carson, my man, this is your first gate operator?
Yes, sir.
The operators have a built-in safety device, this one and that one both, and we tested that one. Somebody stood in front of it. That inherent safety device is on this operator. What is that? It's required to be in there, but what is it doing? What's that safety device I'm referencing that's inside the unit? So as it starts to open and it strikes something, what is it?
It'll stop.
It feels resistance, right? So there's it's an inherent sensor inside the operator to help us, but we can't rely on that solely, right? We have to have external sensors, and how many on this one do we have to have?
We have 2.
2. If it was on a swing gate, trick question, we didn't do a swing gate today, but if you're listening on a swing gate, how many externals do we have to have?
1.
There you go. Is there anything that stuck out to you that was new or different or not what you expected to see?
I thought the wiring was going to be a lot harder than it was.
We made it look easy, didn't we? Yeah. What did you do to the wires to make them look really clean and neat? There's 2 things you did. One, there was a little bit of extra wire. We had you do what with that?
We did like a roll almost.
A loop,
a
right?
loop.
A single loop. And then what did we do to the wire itself?
Just kind of twisted it to where it looked like it was almost braided.
So they braided. Dusty, you're no stranger to gate operators. You've been doing a few of these already.
We've done a few.
But you haven't done this brand.
Have not.
And do you think this brand or this operator in particular is easier or harder than the ones you've done in the past?
It was easier. I do feel very confident in this operator and then being able to switch from a slide to a swing after looking
With the
at
same board.
Because of the same board.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything you think this thing is missing? I mean, advice for the manufacturer. Like, is there anything that you can think of? Like, I wish it had this.
The one thing that multiple people mentioned was a little cone washer.
A little 1 cone washer. That's all we can come up with all day. It's like, I wish it had this 1 penny cone washer extra, right? 1 extra. What does it have that's pretty, I've never seen an operator, and you probably never seen an operator like this. As the gate moves, it has what casting out in the pathway of the gate?
Lights
It
showing.
literally has lights on the ground showing where the gate's gonna go. I think that's pretty clever.
What was unique and made things a whole lot easier was the mounting brackets that came with, or that you could get to go along with the operator and the
I'm
box.
glad you bring that up, because did we mount that on a pad of concrete?
No.
Did we even pour concrete?
Nope.
We just literally beat a post in the ground, big post, 4-inch, schedule 40, 4 feet in the ground, but it just bolted right to the top of that thing.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, I feel like, in the past with other operator brands of how do we mount this thing, and that seems like that's where most of our time is spent.
There you guys go. Fencing, Indiana, Gate 101, plug and play. You heard it from these guys. See ya.